Welcome to Unscripted Gaming. My name is Josh, joined as ever by my colleagues Ray and Mike. Ray and Mike,
Hello.
say hello.
I'm Mike.
Hello.
Hello.
I think it's
Did
been
Mike
a minute.
just drop?
It's been a minute since we're here. No, Mike just doesn't like people because we're coming to you live from the quarantine 2020 self-isolation. We're at it.
I really don't like the way you put 2020, implying that there's more to come.
Oh no.
Well, actually, if anything, this is 2020 part 1.
Oh my gosh.
Because we're gonna have a summer, and then the fall's gonna happen, and then we're gonna do this again. That's the best part about this is like this is just practice for part 2.
Phase 1 is nearly complete. Phase 2 is only just beginning.
Let's go ahead and talk about that. Can we talk about the quarantine and how it's affecting tech, games, our lives?
It's not great.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to not talk about it because it's a hyper object. It's ever present in everything we do in our day.
Hyper present. that's
Quite
a
literally,
fair
yes.
assessment of it.
Well, I
Okay.
think it the impact is in such areas that the knock on and ripple effects are in areas where we don't we're not even fully aware of, or we might not see the impact of for 6, 12, 18, 24 months.
Sure.
Right now we're talking about, hey, Doom and Animal Crossing came out, but like those games were basically already done by the time all this craziness started to come. But like things that were slated for this year, later, next year, things that are close to development, in the middle of end of development, middle of development, like what are these work at home measures going to do to the production? Because I just imagine, and Ray, you might be able to speak to this a little bit, being in the industry, but like even working from home, you just don't have the same collaborative capacity, just being on site with a team of artists and designers and whatnot, and just slowing things down, or for the folks who outsource some of their artwork to China and those delays happening, like that. I can't imagine that this is gonna be something that's we're not gonna feel for a while with games getting delayed, canceled, modified.
Let me just say, going from a studio of 200 where you're just meeting and interacting with everyone to just like everybody working from home and just having to deal with that, that sucks in ways I didn't know was possible. Doing simple things like pulling the build of the game just to test out parameters is not only hard, sometimes it's just like frustrating. Especially for a lot of the artists on our team. A lot of the artists need to interact with others to say, hey, what does this asset look like? Can you go ahead and give me some like feedback on it? And it can sometimes be difficult for them to like give good cohesive feedback on specific assets or level designs and whatnot. My heart goes out to the level designers having to work on our build remotely. Oh my gosh. Just hoping that you have a really good internet connection that's stable enough to kind of remote in to get certain builds of our game and then start manipulating it from a different server farm when you used to be able to manipulate right there on the PC.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, is there any anxiety or worry about, like, potentially like some versioning issues where you think you're pulling the latest version of something off of the server and it's actually an old one, and you've done work that either is not it kind of on something that was out of date, or doing work that then gets corrupted on the file, back to the mothership. Like, is there any concern or anxiety about something like a mistake like that, or is it at least that part of the tech
So
stable enough?
it goes to an issue that many people wouldn't consider, and it's that a lot of people when they came to the company, they thought that I would go work for this company. They have all the tools that I need, and I'll just go from there. But there are a lot of people in our company that do not have the proper equipment or even the most stablest of internet connection because they weren't depending on that. So,
I mean,
to
you have
what
that
you're
in your
saying,
office.
like,
Why do I need to also have $1,000 PC and gigabit internet at home when I have that at work? And at home, I'm fine with a console and a Rocket League casual gaming laptop. Like, it's fine, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just saying you're gonna have a lot of people probably in that situation where, they need the Wacom tablet and all that wackiness that they have at work that they're not gonna have at home, because some people just aren't interested in having that kind of material at home, because they do it at work, they go home and they do something different. They don't just continue that kind of stuff in their home life.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's caused like a lot of disruption for some of the people on my team, particularly, because we've been taking it at our company very seriously. We've been asking people what sort of items you have to work at home, what sort of help do you need, do you have a stable internet connection? And we're getting a lot of really good answers, and there's a lot of people that can work, but my heart does go out to those, and we are doing the best we can to help those that are just like, no, I never had anticipated anything like this. What can the company do to help me? And bless our IT team. Oh my gosh, you never know how much you need your IT until everything hits the fan. And it keeps hitting the fan, and it doesn't stop hitting the fan. And our IT team,
repeatedly for days and days.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I can't get too much into the nitty gritty, but I can say our IT team, they're like now in like shifts of like there are people coming in and out of the office, like manning like 24-hour stations, and it's like when we get back to the office, I can't buy enough donuts and pizza and beer for you guys.
Yeah, I work for a multinational tech company, and most of our presence is here in the United States, but I had to connect to the London VPN working on Thursday and Friday, because the normal VPNs in our cities close by and here in my unidentified Midwestern state were all clogged up and not functioning, because our VPN was never really designed to handle every single employee from the company accessing it at one time from remote locations, because typically 95% of your employees are in the office where you have your enterprise internet for 6,000 people. But yeah, it's definitely been a shift, and it's again, I think Ray points to it very eloquently, like we're gonna see delays, or we're gonna see people coming out of the quarantine and creating that typical crunch, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this impacts the landscape for games coming here in the next year or two, especially on the heels of the new console launches. So quite interesting times we live in.
Can I No, go please go ahead, Mike. No, please.
I was kind of wondering about this the other day. I don't know if there have been any reports about this, and I know some parts of the world are getting seem to have, quote unquote flattened the curve, if you will. But is there any chance that we'd be looking at delays?
Mike is having some internet issues, so his audio is going to sound great to you, the viewer, but to us, we're kind of having trouble. Mike, were you asking about like supply chain for the construction of the consoles?
Yeah.
Is that what you were asking?
That's my question is
what I've heard and what I've read about the supply chain for the consoles is, first, they haven't even begun worrying about manufacturing the units that are going to go out to folks, because I think you're looking at October, September-ish, about when they will probably really be ramping that manufacturing process. I will say one of the big concerns has been some fluctuations in the pricing, things like RAM, especially because these newer boxes are supposed to be using some faster RAM and faster storage, that there have been some concerns about getting the pricing stable enough to where you're keeping them in that hopefully $500 range or whatever those consoles are. So there have been some concerns about that, but with China now, a lot of the big manufacturers and even some of the smaller ones, since they've kind of on that downward side of the curve, they have started to ramp back up production. They have started getting folks back to work. And the factories are coming back online. So as of right now, it doesn't seem like the supply is necessarily going to be an issue. Now, getting the costs in order, again, might be. But when you're working with Sony and Microsoft, you're also working with somebody who's got a lot of leverage on that kind of process. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But nothing imminent right now of we might have a shortage of consoles come holiday time. That's just not your typical. You can only get so many because that's just how life works with a console launch.
We are right now talking about some companies, like particularly me and Josh, that are being good actors. Let's switch gears to like a company that is now world renowned as a bad actor during this crisis. We could call it a crisis. I think that's not an inappropriate word to use. Let's talk about GameStop for like 5 minutes. And oh my gosh. Oh my word. How I've never seen a company so nakedly, brazenly not care about the health and welfare of the employee.
It's very funny. I can kind of speak to this a little bit because I work for an unnamed company that is deemed somewhat essential, so I'm still working in my office, and we don't really have any capacity to work remotely, which is an interesting thing, and it's a whole thing. We don't have time to unpack all that. But GameStop also, in California in particular, which is a state that is pretty heavily hit by this, noted that they're all non-essential businesses need to close, and so GameStop is like, we are essential because people when they work from home get upset that they don't have a Deadpool t-shirt, so we need to stay open. And then the next day, after everyone yelled at them, they closed all their stores in California.
They actually, just yesterday, they decided, okay, we will close all of our stores nationwide, but we are opening curbside and outside store kiosks to continue to sell games. And you just want to say, guys, give it a rest.
I mean, so I will say, like, I understand them saying, like, they should have done this a long time ago. Like, they should have done curbside pickup for, things you buy online, pick up in store, or, pre-release, not pre-release, God, I do it so frequently I forgot the word for pre-ordering games and things like that, because obviously, like, people are spending money on stuff and have already spent money and they want the product that they bought. When people are going to be home for a long time, hey, good opportunity for a lot of people to play games that they've been, trying to get to and haven't had the opportunity to. So, like, in some capacity, I understand them wanting to be able to fulfill those for the customer, but like having your actual store open for people to come in and congregate and touch things constantly, like, there was no reason for that.
No.
I did actually see
they're still taking trade-ins also.
Yeah, I did see today too that Pennsylvania actually revoked their business license because they were refusing the order to close. Like, the governor revoked their business license, so, like, they responded to heavy action, which was good because they were not following the law. But I do think that there was probably some anxiety on at least GameStop's part that if they closed their stores, a lot of them wouldn't reopen, which I think is a valid, realistic concern.
I didn't know that.
I mean, because GameStop is not exactly in the best of straits these days, business-wise.
No.
And it feels like...
So to take a couple weeks off of, revenue probably puts them in a lot of danger.
And I feel like I imagine they will probably kind of take this to, like, soft pivot into, we need to kind of rethink our business model. So these stores are staying closed for now, even after, like, things kind of picked back up.
It's funny. Reggie Fils-Aimé joined the board of GameStop like 3 weeks ago, if that, which feels like an eternity. But I'm wondering if he's either looking at this as a great opportunity, like, okay, guys, we have the opportunity right now to change it, or if he's thinking, yo, I got on this boat at the wrong time.
Yeah, but Reggie's being brought on
like,
to save this
that's
sinking
all for
ship.
now. I'm going to go back to playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on my 3DS. He was never seen again.
This TV looks like an apple. So I didn't know that, Josh. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. That's like the Schadenfreude I live for. For they're revoking their license to do business. That's amazing. That is amazing. I kind of feel for GameStop. I was about to say GameSpot. Damn these people. Because how many people picked up their copy of Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing in store? And these are the same people that you'll see online saying like, screw this company. How dare you do that to their employees? Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go pick up my pre-order with my pre-order bonuses right now at my local brick-and-mortar GameStop. It was like, these people know they're part of the problem. They just don't care. And GameStop is banking on that. They seriously are. And it's not like their employees are benefiting from it. There are reports of their employees like not getting disinfectant supplies, or there are no paper masks, and GameStop is not following the 10 people for congregation rule. Grocery stores in my area are following the no 10 people to congregate rule, and that is a headache and a half for people that just want to get like basic food and supplies. Just lines wrapping around grocery stores, but GameStop, nah. Come on in, everyone, come on in. You got a trade in you want to take? Let me touch my hands all over that.
You want to touch anything? You can touch anything you want. If you pre-order The Last of Us 2, we will let you touch our employee's face.
Cough in their face.
No additional charge.
Yeah, I would call it an example of profit over people, but then that would require GameStop to actually be making a profit. So.
That requires profit.
Oh, there's that spice.
That face when you can't even exploit right.
Oh, there's that spice coming in. I like it. All right. Can we talk about a couple of games?
We sure can. That sounds like a great pivot. So,
this game means a lot to me, and I want your opinion on it, Josh. And I don't know if Mike has played it yet, because I don't know if Mike is into these types of games, but who's played the demo for the Final Fantasy VII Remake? There it is. There it is. Mike doesn't care.
what? I have not played the demo.
Okay, so Square Enix released the demo for the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Josh, you haven't played it yet, have you? Or have you?
I have not. Not.
It's only like an hour to an hour and a half long, not even. And I was a little skeptical at first because when they were showing off the new combat, I'm like, yeah, that looks really good and flashy, but I just beat Kingdom Hearts 3. I know to set my expectations a little bit lower now. And no, it is good. It is so damn good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I was taken aback. There were moments where I was actually grinning ear to ear because they got everything that I wanted right. The voice acting for Barrett, leave it to a Japanese voice director to get how a black person would sound 100% incorrectly. It's the way they portray Barrett is pretty obtuse.
Is it like does he speak jive level
tries.
bad or
Okay.
Oh
real quick.
no.
Okay. I want to get back to this, but I just had an idea for content. The three of us take a trip to Japan, and we just record people reacting to you, Ray. Just like the entire trip. That sounds great.
I've been told if you are black and going to Japan, it's an experience, but nothing will compare to being black and going to China. These and this is from my friend that's
both.
This is from my friend that spent a year in China, and I know China's in the news for a lot of weird shit, but let's be honest, China, you guys put this one on yourselves because I've seen the videos of this happening. They will walk up and touch your hair without asking. They're like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Sarah, when she previously had gone to China in the past, and when people would look at her red hair, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, red hair." And one time she made a kid cry because she didn't know. So the kid was like, "Ah, scary."
Why are you not like everybody else?
Anyway, back to Barrett,
Sarah
Ray.
says sad face.
Yeah, but there's a switching mechanic. You're not just playing Cloud the entire time. You could switch to Barrett and use his gun arm for long range combat. He doing the limit breaks in the game is incredible. Like the anime weeb in me is just loving every bit of this game. And there's an actual strategic element. You can't just be Cloud and slash sword everywhere and just push X to win like you can in Kingdom Hearts. No, there is serious tactics involved with the game. You have to dodge, you have to bob, you have to weave, you have to stagger the enemy, you have to use your magic on the right time for the right enemies, because sometimes your magic doesn't mean anything to an enemy, and sometimes it's needed to actually lower their defenses to weaken the enemy to damage them. And also, it looks beautiful. Oh my gosh, it looks phenomenal. If everyone that has a PS4 should at least try the game. And at the end of the demo is the piece de resistance of marketing. At the end of the demo, they're like, "Thank you for playing the demo. Which version would you like to pre-order? The base game or the digital deluxe?"
The base game of
correct me
part
if I'm wrong,
1
and-
of the remake.
Yeah, that's
Not
the
even
thing
the
that
full
I think
parts.
It still concerns me about this whole situation is like, it's not that I don't think that they've got the chops to potentially like do this game justice, make it look real pretty, be true to the original, but make some, updates that will make it more modern. But like, the fact that I feel like a lot of people are not gonna 100% realize that when you buy this game, you are not getting all of Final Fantasy VII. Like,
No.
and I don't know if they've announced like what they're charging for it or how that that pricing's gonna work, but like, it still just doesn't sit right with me that they're going to charge for part 1 of Final Fantasy VII, and I just can't quite put my finger on it. It just feels purposefully deceptive.
Yeah, it's definitely I don't know what the pricing is on it, but it does seem a little odd.
It's premium game pricing. It's $60.
I mean, I guess they are doing like a lot of work, so that makes sense. But yeah, I guess we'll see how that kind of turns out, because that is kind of weird that they're like, "Oh yeah, Final Fantasy VII remake."
I'm actually not happy that there's a part 1. Like the part of me in 2017 that heard that it was going to be a part 1 of like 3 was really, really disappointed and wondering what the hell they were doing. But I also remember back in 2017, we were questioning if this game was even going to come out because it's been in development hell that long. So now I'm just like, if this is what you have to do to actually make the complete version, you have to break it up into parts because development costs are high. And looking at the game, I can tell this is an expensive game to make. I cannot say that they've cut corners or a lot of corners at all. So I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. I don't know how long it's going to take to release each part. I don't even know if part 2 is in the works. Who knows? So we'll see. We'll find out. I have my digital deluxe copy pre-ordered because it comes with the soundtrack, which, oh, Josh, you know the opening fight theme, that dun 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 dun. Yes. There are 8 different versions of that in the demo. And they're all orchestrated.
Oh. All right, guys, I got a situation for you, and I'm very curious because, like, what if they release part 1 and part 2 never comes out?
Oh, stop it! I don't want to live in this timeline. Then stop it.
Ray, you already do.
You're not allowed to do this.
There's a non-zero chance that could happen.
There is a non-zero chance. Ew, gross. Let's talk about Doom Eternal before I get slightly upset.
Yeah, the Doom Animal Crossing day has finally occurred. That was as of recording yesterday. No, 2 days ago. Time is a flat circle at this point right now, but
What day is it? Who are you people?
I'm playing through Doom Eternal, and
Speak on it.
it's different. That's the best way I could put it. It is. If you're coming into this expecting like just a repeat of Doom 2016, no, this is like. If you were to take Doom 2016 as the template, they have built up and upon this template to the point where it feels like the fourth game after Doom 2016. There are so many more mechanics they've added. The first weapon you get in the game, and I'm gonna be as like spoiler free as possible because, okay, so that's something I need to talk about. Also, there are spoilers I can talk about. In Doom 2016, there was like there wasn't that much of a story. It was
I feel like you couldn't really spoil that game because.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say it, but those moments wouldn't like.
You kill more demons.
It's different than someone telling you, "Oh, you chick the shotgun after you go up the elevator," but when you see it in game, you're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
So it just hits differently. Can't really spoil that.
No, but so. Not spoilers and whatnot. The first weapon you get is the shotgun, and you're like, all right, here we go. There's no, like, infinitely recharging pistol. They just give you the shotgun. But the first thing you notice with the shotgun, and I was talking with Mike about this earlier, is that there's only, like, 12 or 14 rounds of ammunition, and that's a hard cap. You have to, like, get upgrades throughout the game to raise that cap, and you're like, okay, that's a lot lower than normal. The second weapon you get is the chainsaw, and it's infinitely reusable. It just has a recharge system. You're like, okay, all right, we're really getting to the ripping and tearing now that I don't have to always worry about fuel consumption. But that's what they want you to do. They want you to constantly use the chainsaw to constantly get ammo, because there's so little ammo that you're going to get from this shotgun. And they've created this combat loop of constantly ripping and tearing. And it's not what I expected, and it's very different. I'm not used to having such little ammo to micromanage while playing a Doom game. If anything, if they are going to keep that ammo counter that low, I wish the UI for how much ammo you had in your weapon was a bit bigger. And by bigger, I mean like you need the gun from Halo where it's like in your face bigger, because every time I'm playing through Doom, I'm like, all right, I have a ton of ammo. Let's go ahead and get at these demons. But no, it's like, no, you've only got a couple rounds, and some of these demons take 2 shots to kill. Even though it's a shotgun, do what you can. You do have a melee attack. That's different. You eventually get a grenade launcher that's attached to your shoulder, which is also infinitely firing. It just has a recharge system. You have a flamethrower that also is attached to the grenade launcher, which when you flamethrow demons, they start spitting armor shards off of their body, and the more damage you do to the demon, the more armor shards you can collect, and that's one of the easier ways to get armor in the game. There's a constant loop that it's not just you're ripping and tearing through demons, it's you're ripping and tearing with purpose, with love, if you
now,
with care.
For the most part, that's pretty similar to the original 2016 Doom in terms of like, you know, you need to kind of not just go around killing, but you need to get the glory kills. You need to do that so you can keep replenishing the ammo, and like you want to go through and kind of chain together those actions to continue on throughout. You can't just go and like, I'm gonna shotgun everybody the entire time because you're gonna run out of ammo, you're gonna run out of health. Like you gotta hug a demon every once in a while. You gotta get face to face. You gotta caress it as you rip it apart.
So I'm playing on Hurt Me Plenty mode, which is just the normal mode, and the demons hurt. Like, the regular, like, human zombie demons, you remember from Doom 1, those can easily take you out if you're not paying attention, because all of them are hitting for, like, 20, 15. I think the weakest one hits for 15 points of damage. And when you're sitting on 100 hit points, that's only a couple shots. And there's more than one of them in that little battle arena. So you're needing the glory kill, you're needing the chainsaw. Your health is a micromanagement bar that you're constantly worrying about. Okay, so all of that sounds well and fine. If that was all there was to it, I'd still say this is a great Doom game. Here's where it gives me pause and makes me say, like, this feels like it's Doom in name only. There is a lot, and I mean a lot of platforming and platforming puzzling. You have a double jump, and you have an in-air dash attack. Oh, it's not an attack, an in-air dash, and they make you make use of that constantly. And that feels so weird when there's constant pauses in the action and you're having to worry about how you're going to platform from one location to another. It's odd. I just...
Like, and how do you feel about, so now you're mentioning this, because it kind of feels like they've added a lot of kind of like meta mechanics on top of the Doom from 2016. Like, do you feel like it's like a less streamlined experience?
Oh, it's so much less streamlined. Oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. To another group of friends I was talking about, they all played through Doom 2016. I would say there's an overwhelming amount of options you have to kill demons, but some of those options are bad options. Like, you could use your flamethrower, but you should use your flamethrower in groups so you can get the armor points so that you can, and if you're getting too overwhelmed there, you get your grenade launcher gets a freeze ray attachment or a freezing attachment. You should freeze those demons to ice them, but if you ice them too hard, then you won't get the health pickups from them. And you're like, I just want to kill demons. Why are you making this so difficult?
Yeah.
Your super shotgun has a meat hook attachment, which you could use. It's a grappling hook attachment, which you could use to grapple onto demons, and that doesn't get old. I just want to make that also extremely clear. Nothing is more satisfying than when an imp is trying to run away from you, and you just say, "You thought wrong." And you pull them into the double shotgun. It feels
like
feels good.
That one guy of Mortal Kombat fame would often say,
"Get over here.
Please
yes.
come back. Please return."
It's also there's a negative to that, or there's a positive. You could use the grapple hook not just to pull yourself or them to shotgun, but you could also use it as a actual grapple lasso, so you can hook onto them and swing around the battlefield, and then unhook from them and shotgun some other demon, which I do constantly because it's funny and fun.
Sold.
I would still recommend this game. I will say though that replaying Doom 2016 will be that's a very brief template into how the combat works, but
I kind of feel like I should, because I was thinking about Doom, but I kind of feel like maybe I should just replay the 2016 one, because I don't think I've played it since I originally played through it, and I've loved that game. It's very good.
Playing this game has made me want to go back and replay the 2016 one because it was simpler.
Yeah, that's because when I saw a lot of footage of like the platforming and that stuff, I was not super sold, but I wanted to hear how it is. But you'll have to let us know how it made, because maybe once you kind of get more into it, like it'll kind of just let you play the game, because because at least so far, like Borderlands 3 just came out on Steam, and I picked it up and started the early bits of it, and God, it's like I just want to play the game, but I'm constantly getting interrupted by, maybe it's just because I think Claptrap is literally the worst thing to ever happen to video games. I despise him actively every day, but there's just so much of that. Just like it's just like it's so stop and start. I'm like, just let me play the game, and there's just like constant annoying interruptions of like, here's the half-hour like tutorial mission of like walking around the spaceship, and I'm like, I do not care about this. Let me just play the game. Oh my god.
Let me shoot stuff.
It's just very frustrating, but I'm enjoying that game. I'm only like a little bit into it, but I enjoy it. But
I want to bring this up just to make very clear. They never make you do their weird platforming in the middle of a combat arena, so that's a huge bonus.
Yeah, I feel like combining that would be kind of annoying.
Oh, I would hate it. I would despise it. You can do it. There are hidden items in the game that if you start doing the platforming through certain sections, you could find like quadruple damage, you could find extra armor, you could find extra rare ammo. So it's not required to be done, but if you do make some sense, make some use of it. I have seen like little benefits that come from it. It's still fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm gonna keep playing it when we're done podcasting here. So it's not by any means a bad game. It's just weird to me. Jury's
still out on some of the new stuff. You'll have to keep us posted on that.
And I do
Josh,
plan on jumping into it at some point as well, just to give it a try, because I very much enjoyed the 2016 Doom. So I'm looking forward to getting in there and messing some demons up.
You have this. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but you have a hub. I'm not going to describe the hub to you, but the Doomslayer has a hub that he regularly goes back to.
Interesting.
And once you see it, I want to talk to you guys about it once you guys take a look at it, because I was like, that was the point where I started becoming a little bit critical of the game. Like, I think this is too much. I think you guys went a little too far.
Well, I assume by the next recording, I've jumped in. I have the game downloaded, so I imagine the next day or two I'll have cracked into that a little bit and given it a shot. So
join in the ripping and tearing. Oh, I forgot to say this, or we were getting to it. You know how there's the lore in the background of like where the Doomarine / Doomslayer comes from, and how Hell had to try to beat him back, and the best they could do is lock him in the sarcophagus because they're like, we just can't deal with this guy right now. Trap him in.
He's just a lot, okay?
He's just a lie, you know?
So take that lore, and now it's plot, and it's just part of the game and story, complete with cutscenes and everything. And that also made me think, like, this is a bit much. I liked it better when it was lore that I could explore on my own time. Now you're just like, hey, Doomslayer! This is where he comes from. This is his backstory. And it's like, I actually didn't want any of this. I didn't sign up for this.
So I see that, but I also kind of think that it was, like, the logical next step from the way that Doom 2016 ended. Like,
Sure.
The way that throughout the whole thing that there is this weird, like, cult church following around the Doomslayer, and this whole a concept of he was literally too badass for Hell that they had to, like, lock him away to try and just keep the peace in Hell. Essentially, like, the way that 2016 wrapped up, it just kind of seemed like that was going to be the forefront of things have gone off the rails. Doomslayer is at the head of that because it's just this is who he is. This is why this happened. They locked him away to try and get to the point where they could defeat him. Now here's the battle of, can they do it? Can they? Have they spent enough time amassing enough Hell forces to combat the Doomslayer? Like, I get what you're saying, and I maybe I'll have a different opinion once I get into it. But I kind of had a feeling like that's where things were gonna go come a sequel.
If you're really into that stuff of learning more about Doomslayer, where he comes from, is he human? Is he an alien? Are the demons aliens? If you're into that lore stuff, do not worry. They will shove that stuff all at you with sometimes 10-minute long cutscenes.
Ooh.
Yeah. You're like, I'm here to be shooting demons. What is this, a movie?
Can I have a 10-second cutscene?
No.
It's like when I'm playing a Hideo Kojima game. I'm like, what is this? 10 minutes of gameplay? I'm here to watch a Kojima game.
Okay.
Hello.
So, you know what you signed up for when you're playing Metal Gear Solid 4. You're not signing up to play a game, damn it.
No,
you're signing up to experience the then conclusion of a timeless
Can we classify Metal Gear Solid 4 as a visual novel?
Yes.
I think that's acceptable. Yeah.
Well, it's not a visual novel until you level up your invisible camo and then get a sniper rifle with a silencer on it, and then it just becomes a visual novel because then you can just skill your way through the whole game and it's fine.
The Beauty and the Beast Squadron. Oh my goodness.
Oh god. That
sounds great to me.
Metal Gear Solid 4 is kind of dumb as hell.
It's like deliciously dumb. I what did he say?
Boy.
I am thunder, the rain given form. Crack, 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 Raiden. Oh my gosh. I,
Oh, man.
Speaking of Doom Crossing Day,
yeah.
Michael, what you got going on over there?
Well, like I said, I've been playing a touch of Borderlands. Animal Crossing just came out. There's been a decent amount of it played in our household. I've only done a little bit of it, so I don't want to give a full report yet. I believe that Sarah is enjoying it. She gives it a thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna assume 2 thumbs up, but she didn't want to stop playing Animal Crossing to do that.
That's a good sign.
She
that's
confirmed
a good
that's exactly what she wanted to do. So, one thing I noticed immediately is that it's the first console Animal Crossing, I think, since like home console, and since I think the very first one.
The GameCube one, actually.
If I'm not mistaken. And yeah. And you can tell, and I guess I was just kind of had a new leaf in my head, but like, just the style is so, it looks gorgeous. Like, it has a lot of the same kind of design and charm and style that works really well, but just like it finally has a little bit more graphic power behind it, and like the wind, it kind of moves and like blows through the trees, and it's really nice, and like the ocean, like you can see the waves coming in, and it all like works very well. But it feels like it feels like they finally have like the hardware power to back up and really kind of create this like very like really kind of sell this like pleasant environment to be in. Not that like New Leaf couldn't do that, but immediately it's just like it looks so good. I love like it looks amazing.
I'm tempted to pick it up.
And let's see what else. As far as the Destiny Field Reporter update, there's a new season of stuff. Everyone on Reddit hates it. My opinion is that if you feel like Destiny is a bit of a grind, I agree with you. To that, I would also recommend that if you are not having a great time grinding out 3 different things on like 3 characters, I would recommend not doing that, because that's for crazy people, and you don't need to play that much Destiny. Because that's what it usually comes down to. It's like, yeah, I'm a casual Destiny player. I play about like 4 hours every day. And I think grinding out everything on all 3 of my max light characters is really exhausting. And I'm like, what if you only just did it on 1 character? And like, that's not an option. Impossible. How dare you? Like, it's okay. You don't have to. You can just take a break. It's fine. But I guess the most newsworthy thing out of Destiny is the return of the beloved, despised game mode Trials of Osiris, where the tryhard of tryhard Crucible comes together, and I've dipped into a little bit. I have won 1 game and lost many others.
I have won exactly 1 game.
Because Trials, it is a pinnacle end game PvP activity, so it is hard, but I do kind of like the speed, like it's 3v3, one like kind of 5 rounds, first to 5, no respawns or anything, so it's really cool. Like, it's very intense. I think some of the gear they've got is pretty cool for it. They've got some of the old weapons back, and the armor is back as well. I wish I was better at it.
I watched that video you sent, and I said pretty much exactly what I mean when it comes to Trials 1v3. I can't imagine ever being that good at any first-person shooter.
Yeah, that's incredible.
For someone to keep taking the 1v3 cards and just like dropping W's like he's made of them.
Yeah, and there's a right now the kind of multiplayer meta is in a weird place where this one gun that has been in the game forever was always like not super great, but now is like one of the GOAT Crucible guns, and so people just use it all the time. And it's like, because it's hard light, if you guys remember.
I have that gun.
And
You told me not to get it at first.
It's very good now.
Yay!
Because it's the funny thing is, because if you shoot at a target, it does a lot of damage. But if you reflect it off of like a wall or the floor, it does double damage.
Oh my gosh!
So if you get someone down and they like run to disengage and round a corner, you just like start shooting at the wall, and if you like can flick them, then they're dead.
So you're just like doing some quick geometry in your head. You're like,
aha! Yeah, no, exactly. Triangulated, calculated. So it does, because it's like a very obvious laser to exactly where you are. It does tell you exactly, it does tell the other team exactly where you are. But it's overall like, I wish I was better at it, but it's very cool that Trials is back. So I'm gonna plan to, give it a go a few more times, and maybe get to the lighthouse someday. But until then, it will just be Salt. But, that's like I said, I'm kind of working on Borderlands right now because some other guys picked it up, and I need to keep playing more Death Stranding, as it is a very relevant game where you're trying to digitally connect society after a cataclysm happened and everybody's stuck inside.
That's a little too real. Kojima, you've done it again. You've
like Metal Gear Solid 2 time to reality about 7 years. Death Stranding time to reality about 6 months. We're gonna have to ask him to stop making games because it's getting weird out there.
It's like he could see the writing on the wall and he just says, "Why doesn't anyone make a game about this? I'm gonna do it." We all thought he was crazy, but he was the most sane one in the room.
Nah, he was social distancing before it was cool.
Ugh. Social. I was about to get into a whole rant about how people have not been taking social distancing seriously, and that's...
Yeah, we understandable, but we don't have to have that.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to talk...
Take it seriously, folks.
We're going to talk
Please
next.
Be careful.
How about we close this out talking about the new Xbox Series X and PS5 reveals?
Oh yeah, because that happened this week.
That did happen.
So I guess what I'm gonna say is, I think people were a little salty about. People were like a little salty about like the PS5 reveal, but I think people also kind of forgot this was supposed to be their like GDC reveal, and so when it was like a very weirdly technical thing, they're like, "Who cares about this?" And it's like, well, it's for developers, not you.
Yeah,
Shut up. So I kind of get that, and it sounds like I'm pretty excited because I think because it's got that built-in solid state drive. So it's really, I think that having that be part of the, like knowing that every single PS5 is going to have that, I think will be very cool for developers because you've never been able to plan with like that kind of mass install base for something like that. So it's going to, I don't know if I'm like being too sci-fi here, but I think it could really change the way people like make games.
Yeah, because I really think that this whole fast storage situation is probably going to be the most impactful feature for both of these consoles, rather than just their performance enhancement,
or like pure graphical fidelity.
Yeah, I mean, you can always add more polygons, you can always add more gigahertz, you can always add more teraflops, but having that consistent fast storage that is integrated into the system in such a way that everybody's going to have, like Mike was saying, is such a boost. And I think that the tech demo with the Spider-Man loading through New York and moving so seamlessly, I think that's a big representation of just scratching the surface of what they're going to be able to do with that fast storage. Now, I can't remember if Sony announced, but I know that the Xbox said that their Series X is going to launch with a terabyte built-in, and then an expansion slot for an additional terabyte at first. I imagine at some point they will expand that out, but so 2 terabytes of that fast storage available at some point, which I think is mostly reasonable, especially if they get more granular about the way you can manage your files and those games.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure a lot of people would like to see more, or people being upset about not being able to play a Series X game from an external USB drive, but that's kind of the point of the fast storage, is you have to be on that NVMe link and not the USB slow bus. Like, that's just how that works.
I'm here for the backwards compatibility and apparently their lack of with the PS5 as announced. Meanwhile, Xbox Series X is like, you want backwards compatibility? Baby girl, come on. We got original Xbox backwards compatibility.
You want to put that Chex Quest CD in our Xbox? It'll work. Remember that Slime Soccer burn CD you had from 8th grade computer lab? That'll work too.
You
Try
want putt-putt adventure golf? Come on with the floppies. We got a slot for that.
I've got a slot. Oh, no.
That's so
yes,
silly.
I saw that. I think that they're at the least looking at like the top, for PS4, having like the top. What did they say? It was like top 100 games based on playtime / engagement or whatever to compat over to the PS5, and I think what that was like with enhanced support. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what that looks like, because I know that there were some people hoping for like a full PlayStation back compat, like back to like PS1 or whatever, but it sounds like that is probably not going to be the case here.
I mean, there are some rumors of backwards compatibility through the PS1 generation. Obviously, nothing is confirmed. I think that's one of those things that they save a little closer to launch, to say like, if they are actually able to get something on that SoC that they can do, native PS1, 2, 3 rendering, whether or not that they just put on, a chip that helps read them or what. But, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little closer and they say, oh, hey, guys, by the way, throw in any disc you want and it's going to work, baby.
Yeah,
I would
that
also
would
not
be really
surprised if
cool,
they said,
but...
You know what? We have a perfectly great online shop where you can go and purchase all of those games for.
That would be nice.
Ding.
Also, what was it? Microsoft announced that most of everything that will work with their Xbox One Series X. Horrible name, by the way. Awful name. Just
They
awful.
really should just go to Xbox. Like,
They really should have just called it the Xbox.
No. What's wrong with Xbox 6 or 5 or whatever number they're on?
They kind of already do call it the Xbox because it's the Xbox Series X, and I imagine that whatever the other version that comes out will be the Xbox Series blah, blah, blah. So, like, they've kind of already done that, but they haven't. Just call it the fucking Xbox. It's what it is.
yeah.
I mean, what do you call the next
maybe that's
Xbox?
why they do it, just because it's like, maybe that's why they have a purposely confusing name, so everyone just calls it the Xbox.
That could be it. Because they don't have something catchy as PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5. Like, since it's just so easy to do that,
Yeah, so
They've
they
gotta do it
like they know
convoluted.
they can just name it whatever because they know everyone just calls it the Xbox anyway.
Josh, I want to bring up a couple months ago, you were against calling it the PS5.
I mean, they should just call it the PlayStation.
Stop it! What is with you? What
But
do you...
obviously, they're going to call it the PS5.
I think that's like the easiest thing to do. And I'm kind of sad that...
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo comes up with fun and weird, stupid names.
Yeah.
Microsoft seems to be the one that says, let's make the most obtuse names possible for our systems.
I, for one, can't wait for the new Switch, where it's just like a Switch, but it has like a third jut out for like another Joy-Con on it for no reason. It's
So
like
that it
imagine
looks like a Nintendo 64 controller.
Yeah, imagine the N64 controller, but as a Switch. That's the next one. You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's the docking port.
It just like docks in the bottom little thing. Yeah, that's 100% what's gonna happen.
Yeah, no,
It's gonna
I'm
suck.
into it.
I love it.
I am curious what Nintendo's next console would be, but honestly, real talk, they don't have to release a new one. It's pretty good. All right, that
Yeah, I think the Switch is just going to be like, I think that's going to be their form factor going forward for a while, and we're just going to see iterations and variations on it. Like, you're just going to find updated models. You're going to find, the faster version, the Switch Lite, the Switch Pro. Like, I think that's just going to be it going forward. Like, I don't think they need to do another console of any kind. Like, they've got it on lock there, but they've got a couple years till we see anything coming out of that. So, who knows? But you know how you can know?
How, Joshua?
oh my goodness.
If you follow and subscribe to Unscripted Gaming to be kept abreast of all the latest gaming news. You can get us on YouTube at Unscripted Gaming, Facebook, Unscripted Gaming, Twitter.com/unscript_gaming. You can get us on SoundCloud, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts. Get us anywhere you want. And coming soon, unscriptedgaming.com.
That is coming soon.
It's happening.
Yes.
Yes. So get prepared, get followed, get subscribed, get us everywhere. Get it going good. So thanks for listening to Unscripted Gaming. I'm Josh.
I'm Mike.
I'm Ray.
Peace.